The memories of professional baseball in the Fargo-Moorhead area had begun to fade. A rich history had been reduced to stories shared between grandparents and eager ears on the front porch. The days of Barnett Field serving as a playground for Bob Haas, Frank Gravino, Roger Maris, and Mudcat Grant, long gone. For 35 years, summers in the region were missing something. The national anthem under crystal clear skies, play ball barked by the guy who needs glasses, the crack of a wood bat driving home another run for the home team. 35 long years since folks of all ages could gather for a midsummer night's fun, peanuts, hot dogs, and our national pastime. But in 1996, the boys of summer would return. Fargo-Moorhead would once again have its hometown team, the Fargo-Moorhead RedHawks. Following a whirlwind of off-field activity, baseball was finally coming back to the area. The Fargo-Moorhead RedHawks would be playing an 84-game schedule in the most dynamic of all the independent baseball leagues, the Northern League. Team President Bruce Thome didn't simply want to field a team or compete with the best. He wanted to be the best, right away. Thome handpicked manager Doug Simonic to lead the RedHawks. He was a veteran of the Northern League, having won a championship in Winnipeg in 1994. Simonic, along with pitching coach Jeff Bittiger, knew what was expected. Ownership would give them all the tools to win, and they were expected to deliver. They came from Hazel Crest, Illinois, Pullman, Washington, West Islip, New York, Los Angeles, and all kinds of places in between. Hometown heroes would get an opportunity to live a dream. The players shared a common bond, a love of the game, and early on it was apparent that this team was something special.
This was the best group of guys that I probably played with. Guys really wanted to win, and you got to have that. I mean, guys weren't in there for their personal stats, you know, going to the big leagues, moving around. I played in AAA for a long time. Everybody wanted to win, and that's the way it was, and everybody knew what it took to win, and we had a great bunch of guys this year. I can't think of not one guy on the team that I just didn't get along with.
Well, what I have is an original scorecard from Barnett Field of the FM Twins. It was from about 1956 and 7. It's great. I've been waiting a lot of years for this. Baseball is where it's at. The subtle sport.
They had waited for 35 years for the return of professional baseball, and finally it was here. Opening night at Jack Williams Stadium was the first of 42 parties put on by the RedHawks in 1996. A capacity crowd was treated to a brand of entertainment that would captivate their imagination and steal their hearts.
Batting second, number 10, the big catcher, Chris.
Local lad.
The Hawks had dropped 5 of their first 7 games, but Doug Simonic refused to panic. He fine-tuned a lineup that was a lethal blend of speed and power. It was a night for the community to get to know their team, and the big first baseman from San Antonio, Texas, stepped to the plate and introduced himself in dramatic fashion.
Kratzer hits it high in the air, deep to right field. You can track it down Marge. Oh, my.
This homestand would start a 7-game winning streak for the RedHawks. The Hawks would score 94 runs during the streak, and it sent a loud and clear message to the rest of the league. This was no ordinary expansion team. It was a legitimate contender. The fireworks were on the field and in the skies over Fargo. Opening night was a huge success, but there was one more opening to come, and it would be one of the proudest moments in a season of firsts. Just a day before the RedHawks would play in their new field, plenty of work still needed to be done. Calls were made across the region for trucks to deliver what would soon become the Hawks' home turf. Bleachers needed to be put in place. Hundreds of workers laboring around the clock, fine-tuning the newly rolled sod. A true picture of what skill, hard work, and determination can accomplish. The clock was ticking. They had less than 24 hours to get it done. Game day was here, and like the movie, If You Build It, They Will Come, they came. Although the new stadium was rough around the edges, the nest had character, and the main ingredient that brought it to life, thousands of baseball fans coming home. It was a grand opening that more than lived up to its billing. A baseball game, but much more than that. The sellout crowd enjoyed the first of a season full of picture-perfect nights for baseball, and they couldn't wait to come back for more. As the players became household names, it became more and more apparent that RedHawk fans were looking at a championship-caliber club. The first homestand at the Nest ended with a 3-game sweep of the Thunder Bay Whiskey Jacks.
Well, the Hawks are threatening here in the bottom of the third inning, trailing it 2-0. The 1-1 pitch is hit high in the air, deep towards left field, way back, and you can track it down, Marge! A grand slam home run! Give me a high five, Aaron. And the Hawks lead it 4-2.
Darryl Motley started his assault on the Northern League record books with this grand slam, and his teammates took their lead from the World Series veteran. The Hawks would move into a first-place tie with the Winnipeg Goldeyes for the Western Division lead, and a showdown was looming on the horizon. When you think of the Northern League, you have to think of the St. Paul Saints, the franchise that brought national recognition and attention to independent baseball. The Saints came to town over the July 4th weekend, a series that a sold-out Nest saw the RedHawks take 2 out of 3 games. The series was intense, with bang-bang plays. The Hawks prevailed in dramatic fashion when catcher Chris Coast, batting with a broken finger, drove home the winning run and sent a message to the Saints that these two teams were destined to meet again when the stakes were much higher. The RedHawks would work their way to the top of the Western Division, and standing in their way from a postseason berth and the first-half division title, their division rival, the Winnipeg Goldeyes, a club that mirrored the RedHawks, great hitting, pitching, and a desire to win. It was a battle of the Western Division heavyweights. The difference, the deciding series would be played at the Nest in front of the hometown crowd. The Hawks, needing just 1 win in the series to clinch, fell short in Game 1. But the Hawks were not about to push the panic button. Not this team. In Game 2 of the series, history was about to be made. It was another postcard night at the Nest. Fans of all ages filled the stands to capacity. Andy Wise took the hill for Winnipeg. For the Hawks, veteran right-hander Jeff Bittiger. The Goldeyes would score first as Brian Duva drove home Greg Castaldo with this hit in the third. Trailing 1-0 in the bottom of 3, the Hawks struck back. Following a leadoff single by Chad Akers, the product of the Montreal Expos organization, Matt Rundles, belted this extra base hit, which tied the game. 2 batters later, it was the Major League veteran Darryl Motley's turn to give the RedHawks a lead. Motley would finish the game going 3 for 4. In the bottom of the 4th, still leading 2-1, catcher Chris Coast, one of the leading doubles hitters in the league, did what he does best. After a Derek Reams groundout and a strikeout by Johnny Knott, the most underrated player in the league, Lance Magida, put some heart into an Andy Wise pitch. The hit put the Hawks up 3-1, and with Jeff Bittiger settling into a rhythm, it looked as if the Hawks were coasting to a Western Division first-half title. It was the Winnipeg batsman trying to figure out Jeff Bittiger. It happened in the 8th inning. After walking leadoff hitter Chris Coquinda, Bittiger gave up a 2-run blast to Kevin DeTola, momentarily silencing the RedHawks' hometown crowd. Doug Simonik was forced to go to his pen. He grabbed the hard-throwing right-hander Ernie Fisher. Fisher, after allowing 2 hits, slammed the door on the Goldeyes rally by striking out Greg Castaldo in the 8th. But Fisher got into more trouble in the 9th. He allowed a leadoff walk to C.J. Martin. Martin promptly stole second base. And with 1 out in the 9th inning, the Goldeyes even the score at 4 with this clutch RBI single by Chris Coquinda. Simonik then went to his rock, the rookie pitcher of the year, Stephen Lucas. And the boy from New York City, with ice in his veins, took his slider and slipped it by Terry Lee to end the threat. With the game tied at 4 going into the bottom of the 9th inning, the Hawks held their destiny in their own hands. They were 1 run away from clinching the first-half title and a postseason berth. Johnny Knott led off the Hawks' 9th. He had struck out in his 3 previous at-bats. Staying focused, Knott hung in against Brewer and cashed in on a 2-strike fastball. Playing fundamental baseball, it was the blue-collar player Lance Magida laying down a perfect sacrifice bunt. That put Knott in scoring position. The tension was building. You could feel it in the stands and the RedHawks dugout. And Brewer, after walking Chad Akers, the Goldeyes committed a big mistake.
Line ball down left side. Coquinda has it. To second, it's past the glove, and everybody's safe. Everybody's safe. It'll be an error on Chris Coquinda. A big error on Coquinda, and Brian Traxler will step up with the bases loaded. The right-hander is ready. Devin Brewer okays the sign from Hank Manning. Traxler is ready at the dish. From the belt, the 2-1 pitch. Down low, past Manning. Here comes Knott, and he's going to be safe. And the Hawks have won the division. The RedHawks have won the division. The Hawks win. The Hawks win. The Hawks win. 5-4. Let the party begin. The bases covered for fun.
Yeah, this one's really special. It's a new team. It's guys that haven't even experienced the league. It's guys that have, we got 5 guys that have played in the Northern League. They had 10. Other teams got 11. Some have more than that. And to bring a new group of people out and have them experience something like this and then eventually get it finished, it's really a sweet feeling.
It's a good feeling, you know, wherever you are to win, and I'm just happy I'm happy for the city of Fargo, and I'm happy for the ball club. You know, we deserved it. We played hard all year long, and we got our reward.
It's been a great first half. I didn't know victory could be so sweet, but it is. We want more.
Oh, is that thing on? You got sound on that thing there? Blue moon of Kentucky won't you keep on shining. Someone that's gonna left me blue. Blue moon of Kentucky won't you keep on shining. Someone that's gonna left me blue. Well, it was on the moonlit night, the sunrise. Let's put it on high.
And more winning was exactly what the Hawks and their fans got. A playoff berth already in hand. This team refused to simply coast through the second half. RedHawk games became the toughest ticket in town. Sellout crowds were the 10th man on the field. After a 35-year absence, baseball again was the focus of the community. It was a perfect blend of a gutty winning team on the field and the most professional front office in the Northern League. In less than 6 months, this franchise became the envy of the rest of the league.
Thank you very much.
Off the field, Hawks management took a huge step to ensure that this brand of baseball and entertainment would continue. In an unprecedented move in independent baseball, 3-year contract extensions were awarded to General Manager John Dietrich, Business Manager Lois Dietrich, Manager Doug Simonik, and pitching coach Jeff Bittiger.
It's been a hard-working year because of the construction mainly, and building, starting from scratch with the whole franchise. So I'm looking forward to a year of more stability, or 3 years more of stability.
By far, we had the best ownership and the best general manager in all of the Northern League, as well as probably a lot of minor league situations. Without the owner, without the general manager, who have an ear towards what or lending an ear to what we want to do, they've given us every resource that it's taken to build a great team, and I hope the next 3 years are just as rewarding as this year.
Mr. Baseball. I let's do this, folks. Go now. Your Fargo-Moorhead RedHawks.
On the field, night in and night out, Doug Simonik's crew fought and clawed for 27 outs. They were never out of a game, and they would post 53 wins, tying the Northern League record. The Hawks rewrote the record book, a relentless attack on opposing pitchers. But this team was about much more than numbers. Character, heart, that never-say-die attitude. Those were the traits that the fans fell in love with.
These people aren't paid a lot of money, and to give of their heart and to give 110% effort at every game, and you could see the camaraderie. Every game they'd come out and they'd give you everything they had, and so it was, to me, I'd sit there and just marvel as I watched the team.
As the regular season came to a close, Darryl Motley, Baseball America's Independent Player of the Year, capped off his record-setting run by powering the Hawks to a 3-game sweep of the Winnipeg Goldeyes. On the season, Motley hit .346 with 26 home runs, driving in 103 runs, shattering the previous RBI record by 30. All year long, the Goldeyes had chased the Hawks, only to come up frustrated at the end of the regular season. Bolstered by the late-season acquisition of Chris Powell, the premier leadoff hitter and center fielder in the league, Fargo-Moorhead went on to win the second-half championship. But now the records meant nothing. 53 wins would become a part of history. The regular season was over. A best-of-3 series with the Goldeyes would determine who would advance to the league championship.
At 10 minutes to 7, they're going to do the starting lineup thing. So be down in the dugout, and I'll go up the home plate, and the first guy, Powell, right on down the line. They're going to do the lineup on the line, like in the, like in the pros. Like in the pros.
The Western Division Championship Series. It had a nice ring to it. Dubbed the I-29 series between the Winnipeg Goldeyes and the RedHawks, the two powerhouses of the Western Division. And it didn't take long for the tone to be set in this best-of-3 series. Game 1 at the Nest was one for the archives, a game where heroes would be made. The KG veteran Jeff Bittiger took to the mound for the Hawks against the dominant right-handed ace Jamie Ybarra. It was the first postseason game for the new franchise in Fargo. A sellout crowd came to witness the event. The Goldeyes would strike first in this battle, scratching across 2 runs in the top of the second inning, as Greg Castaldo slapped an extra base hit, plating Brad Koenigsegg and Brent Watts. With the Goldeyes leading at 3-1, the game then turned into a classic pitcher's duel. Right-hander Jamie Ybarra had settled into a rhythm, to say the least. He had sent down a string of 10 batters in a row, simply untouchable, until the bottom of the 6th. With 1 out, Ybarra walked Johnny Knott, then gave up a single to Aaron Iatrolo. After a Matt Rundle's infield pop-out, the Hawks were left with 2 outs and 2 on, with a go-ahead run coming to the plate in the form of catcher Chris Coast. The stage was set, and a hero was about to be made.
Coast was almost down to first base. He was starting to make that walk, and now the string is out. Iatrolo will be off. A base hit here. An extra base hit might score a tying run. Here's the payoff pitch. Swung on, hit high in the air. Deep down the left field line. You get your shoes on, Marge, because you can track it down. Oh, my God. Chris Coast, a 3-run home run. And the Hawks lead it 4-3. Touch 'em all, Chris Coast.
It's almost undescribable. I've never been a part of anything of that nature in my life. You know, I've hit some decent home runs here and there, but you know, something like that, you know, it's almost has to be lucky to be in that situation and then get a good pitch to hit and then get the bat on the ball. It's just, you know, when I came out in front of the fans for my curtain call, I almost started crying. It was just unbelievable.
It was the shot heard round the valley, and it gave the Hawks players and fans the spark they were looking for. Leading at 4-3, Doug Simonik went to his ace reliever, Stephen Lucas. But with 2 outs, the Northern League Player of the Year, Terry Lee, came to the plate. Lee came to the dish looking for the Lucas slider, and that's what he got. And Terry Lee sent the pitch into the Fargo night, tying the game at 4. With the game knotted at 4, heading into the bottom of the 9th, the Hawks were in need of a base runner. Aaron Iatrolo would provide the blow. Leading off the inning, Iatrolo sent a Ybarra pitch down the left field line. The Goldeyes would claim that the ball landed foul, but clearly the correct call was made, and the Hawks had a runner in scoring position. Iatrolo would move to third on a wild pitch. With the winning run now 90 feet away and only 1 out, the RedHawks were looking for another hero. His name this time, Lance McGeeta.
And the string is out to Lance McGeeta. Here's the payoff pitch. Swung on, line to the center field. Watts is back, he makes the catch. Iatrolo tagging from third. Here he comes, safe at home. And the RedHawks have won it. The RedHawks have won it. A come from behind win. And the Hawks win it 5-4.
That's a big one. That's a big one. That's a big one.
With Game 1 under their belts, the Hawks were hoping to clinch the division series north of the border. Winnipeg Stadium, a makeshift baseball field that turns routine fly balls into home runs and line drives in the gap into singles. Not a park advantageous to an extra base hitting team like the Hawks. For the second game in a row, Winnipeg would draw first blood. In the bottom of the first, the Goldeyes would plate a run on a Tim Smith wild pitch and an RBI single by Terry Lee. Trailing 2-0 in the third, the Hawks would tie the game as Lance McGeeta's base hit would allow both runs to cross the plate. The Goldeyes would open the game in the bottom of the fourth. as they sent 8 men to the plate and scoring 3 runs. Down 5-2 in the 6th, the RedHawks would get a run back from one swing of the bat of the veteran Darryl Motley as he cleared the screen in left field. In the 9th, trailing by a score of 6-3, the RedHawks would rally. Chad Akers, batting with runners on first and second, would knock a single, scoring Matt Rundles, making the score 6-4. 2 batters later, Brian Traxler's clutch base hit would score Chris Powell, pulling the RedHawks within 1, 6-5. But the Hawks' rally would fall short as Darryl Motley flew out to end the game, and the Western Division playoffs would move back to Fargo to decide the champion.
We're talking fun and excitement, we're your hometown team. FM RedHawks Baseball, come and see what we mean. Gonna have a ball with the RedHawks, you know we're the ones, 'cause we've got the bases covered for fun.
It was the championship game of the Western Division playoffs at the Nest on Fargo's north side. The RedHawks and Goldeyes had battled to a 1-1 tie in the series, not to mention hundreds of miles logged in the bus across the border. It would be a matchup of 2 durable, contrasting pitchers. Hard-throwing right-hander Mike Bailey for Winnipeg and the forkball specialist Jeff Isom for the Hawks. And for the 3rd game in a row, Winnipeg would score first. The skies over the Nest began to darken, and on the field, Isom and Bailey were rock steady. But Mother Nature would prevail. The skies opened up and the rain came, delaying the game for well over an hour. When play resumed in the bottom of the 4th inning, Mike Bailey was still on the mound for the Goldeyes. Many wondered if the delay would affect his momentum. One thing the delay did do was give the RedHawks bats a chance to come alive. Darryl Motley promptly led off the bottom of the 4th with a single. 2 batters later, it was Aaron Iatrolo knocking an extra base hit, driving home Motley and the tying run. With 2 outs in the inning, the clutch performer Chris Coast put the Hawks ahead with an RBI single, scoring Iatrolo. The Goldeyes weren't about to lie down and die. In the 6th, a leadoff walk to Terry Lee, followed by a Vince Castaldo single and a sac fly by Brad Cummings, tied the game at 2. Still knotted at 2 in the bottom of the 8th inning. The RedHawks then went to work on winning the divisional playoffs. Johnny Knott drew a leadoff walk, promptly stole second, and reached third on a wild pitch. With 1 out, it was Matt Rundles driving a ball through the infield that would give the Hawks the lead. Rundles would eventually score an insurance run on a throwing error by pitcher Chris Lemp. In the 9th inning, it was in the hands of right-handed fireballer Ernie Fisher. Nothing was going to stop him from completing the task at hand. Fisher quickly struck out Brent Watts and got Henry Manning to pop out weakly to Brian Traxler. With 2 outs, Fisher then faced Greg Castaldo, and Ernie Fisher secured the Western Division Championship for the RedHawks. It seemed only right. The RedHawks' destiny was being fulfilled. Up next, a date with the defending Northern League champions, the St. Paul Saints. The RedHawks were in the process of putting together a remarkable season. Winners of both halves, champions of the Western Division, and now a date with the St. Paul Saints for the Northern League Championship. Games 1 and 2 of the series would take place at Midway Stadium in St. Paul. Even co-owner Bill Murray was on hand to take part in the big event. The RedHawks were not intimidated by the stadium or the aggressive fans of St. Paul. In Game 1, the Hawks would put 4 runs on the board in the top of the first. The Saints' Joe Miller walked the bases loaded to start the game. Miller was removed by manager Marty Scott for right-hander Scott Stewart. Stewart then walked Johnny Knott with the bases loaded to plate the RedHawks' first run. And with the sacks full of Hawks and 1 out, it was Aaron Iatrola who delivered a big blow. A 2-run double scoring Chad Akers and Brian Traxler. The RedHawks' 4th run came on an infield groundout by Matt Rundles. RedHawks starting pitcher Steve Shoemaker was staked to a 4-run lead, but it wouldn't last. In the bottom of 1, with 1 out and 1 on, it was power-hitting Rob Leary depositing a Shoemaker pitch deep over the vodka bottle in right field. Glenn Davis, the former big leaguer, stepped in next and doubled, and the Hawks made 2 vital miscues that led to Davis scampering all the way around to score the Saints' 3rd run. Leading 4-3 heading into the 3rd, the RedHawks would scratch across another run as Darryl Motley singled to start the inning, eventually scoring on an error by center fielder Kevin DeTola. That made it 5-3 RedHawks. The Saints would tie the game in the 5th as Shoemaker, with 1 out, yielded back-to-back base hits, the last by catcher Hector Villanueva, plating Rob Leary, that tied the game at 5. However, the seesaw battle of Game 1 would swing back to the Hawks in the 8th. The RedHawks had runners at first and second with 1 out. That's when catcher Chris Coast gave the Hawks a lead with an RBI single scoring Aaron Iatrola. The Hawks were looking for insurance when Chris Powell singled to right field. Matt Rundles attempted to score on what would be the pivotal play of the game. The RedHawks did not get the call. Game 1 then shifted back to the Saints for good in the bottom of the 8th as Glenn Davis powered a double, plating Carlton Fleming and Joe Biernat as the Saints went on to win the opener 7-6. Game 1's loss was a tough pill to swallow for the RedHawks. After a grueling Western Division playoff and an emotional start to the championship series, the Hawks were down but not out. The Saints, on the other hand, used the game as momentum into Game 2. With an overworked pitching staff, Doug Simonik was forced to start Ernie Fisher, who had been instrumental in relief roles during the postseason. The Saints' strategy was to score early and often, and that's what they did. In the bottom of the 1st, St. Paul would collect 5 hits and plate 3 runs. The resilient Hawks would attempt to stage a rally in the 5th, picking up 3 consecutive hits by Brian Traxler, Darryl Motley, and an RBI double by Johnny Knott. However, 2 strikeouts and a flyout would end the threat. With the RedHawks trailing at 6-2, disaster would strike in the bottom of the 5th as the Saints would send 8 men to the plate, tallying 4 runs, putting the game out of reach. The Hawks would put another run on the board in the 9th as Johnny Knott belted his 3rd RBI double of the game. But this night went to the St. Paul Saints, who won the contest 10-3, sending the championship series to Fargo, and the RedHawks' backs were against the wall. It was Game 3 of the Northern League Championship. The Hawks were down 2-0, but back at the nest. This game would be a classic battle, filled with great pitching. clutch plays, and timely hitting. The men in charge, the former Miami Hurricane Jeff Alkire for the Saints and the KG veteran Jeff Bittiger for the Hawks. It would be Bittiger's finest performance. He started the night fanning 4 straight batters, an impressive start for the minor league strikeout king. But in the top of 2, the former big leaguer Hector Villanueva gave the Saints their first hit and run, lining a fastball over the wall in left center. The Saints would plate another run in the inning as Greg DeAlexander would drive home Kevin DeTola, who had singled and stole second. Bittiger would strike out the side of the second. Although he gave up 2 runs, Bittiger had struck out 6 batters in the first 2 innings. The RedHawks came back in the home half of the second as Johnny Knott, with one swing of the bat, took an Alkire offering the other way outside the wall for the RedHawks' first run. The solo home run would come into play again in the 4th as Darryl Motley brought the house down with a crushing home run to lead off the inning, tying the game at 2. Bittiger continued his impressive work on the hill, and his defense went to work for him, shutting down the potential Saints rally with clutch plays. The Hawks defense sparked the offense in the home half of the 5th. With 2 out and the game tied at 2, Chad Akers would ignite the nest with an RBI triple, and the RedHawks had their first lead of the game. Clinging to a 1-run lead, Bittiger sent the Saints down in order in the 6th. But in the 7th, St. Paul would manufacture the tying run. With 1 out, Joe Biernat would bring Robbins home with an RBI single, tying the game at 3.
We are knotted at 3. The count 1-2 with 2 outs here in the 8th inning. The go-ahead run at first base for St. Paul. Bittiger from the belt. The 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. He struck him out. Jeff Bittiger, take a bow. That is phenomenal. His 141st pitch of the game, and he strikes out Kevin DeTola. What a performance by Jeff Bittiger.
What would happen in the 9th inning was almost unreal. 2 outs, nobody on, and Joe Biernat at the plate. Biernat would send a Bittiger pitch a mile high over the left side of the infield. Johnny Knott had it measured. This unfortunate twist of fate would happen to the RedHawks Iron Man. Johnny Knott was the only Hawk player to play in every inning of every game, a rock at the corner. Biernat would end up at second, and it was Carlton Fleming's triple that gave the Saints a lead. A RedHawk rally would fall short in the 9th. It wasn't meant to be. This night and the championship would belong to St. Paul.
I'd like to thank the fans personally for being there for us, filling up our stadium, supporting us, and making our stadium a place to want to play each and every night that we came there. I hope we gave you a good show each and every night, and hopefully in 1997 we can give you many more great shows.
Darryl Motley said, you know, when he's 36, going on 37 years old, and he came up to me in tracks and he said, you guys are pros, you guys are winners. I want to come back here and win this championship next year. I think we all should do it together. And we all agreed, so we're looking forward to that.
Memories of the '96 RedHawks season may fade through the years, but what these players accomplished will not be forgotten. They were a group of men who loved the game, who played to win, and a team that connected with the fans who came to see them play. And what they'll take with them wherever they may go is that this '96 RedHawks team will go down as the team that laid the foundation for the new tradition of professional baseball in Fargo-Moorhead.